Hey guys, welcome back to another video with Katronics. In this video I have a PlayStation 4 dropped off by a customer who is wanting a HDMI port replaced, which is here. Probably hard to tell on camera, but it is quite messed up. So we're going to go ahead and replace that. So you've got 1, 2, 3 and 4 that you need to remove. And the warranty sticker's been removed as well. This was not by myself, but by the customer that dropped it off. So I'm guessing they've probably tried to service it themselves or they've took it somewhere else. But we do obviously service consoles to clean them and stop them from overheating. So that's usually something that I include for free if they're getting like a chip replaced or something. But if it's just a service, then I usually charge about $25 to clean it all up. So now this part here should just slide out like that. So far so good. So it does look like they've actually recently cleaned it, which makes our job a lot more easier. And if they decided to clean it before they dropped it off, well, that's a bonus. So I'm just taking out these 2 screws here, so then we can remove this part, which should just come off as well. I'll just turn it round, it's easy to turn round and get off that way then. And there we go, and that bit looks pretty clean as well. It's probably the cleanest console I've seen so far. So I'm going to take out their hard drive, which requires a Philip 00. So now I'm just going to turn it over and take off this bottom base. Again, I'm shook. It looks really clean. Now we're going to turn it back over and we're going to unscrew all these screws here. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then you've got a couple of Phillips screws. So I'm just going to fast forward this part. Oh, and the screw here, which is 12. And now, as you can see, the bottom chassis has fell out and so has the motherboard. So that is awesome. Now we just need to remove. Oh, now I'm seeing the dust that didn't get cleaned. You can see it all here. And some thick chunks in the fan and on the board, but should be okay. So before I do anything, I'm just going to get rid of these big chunks of dust here. Just using a brush just to kind of brush it away, I suppose. Okay, so it's going to be hard for me to show you, but you can see all of these kind of like pins have been pushed out. If you just gently push them, they'll slide back in. And I've never seen a PlayStation with that before. You should just be able to see the row of back pins that are soldered, but there's not. There's all these that have kind of come out. So I'm just going to test it with the cable and see if it plops them back out again. So let's see if we push this in, if it pushes them back out. Oh, it doesn't even want to go in. No, you can just hear stuff snapping. Yep, that's bad. Oh, Alright then, let's get to work with this. So I'm going to change over to my microscope so I can get a zoom in, and then we'll replace the solder that's there with some low melt solder, and then we'll get to removing it. So this is what I'm looking at here. I don't think I've ever seen a HDMI port like this, but also thumbs up to Michael, my partner, who actually got this camera working.
Just need to make sure it's fully covered. I can't do it this way, I much prefer looking in this glass. And then these two ones here. Oh, okay, right. That's quite messy.
So now what I'm going to do is just heat up this area and try and remove the HDMI port. Tweezers. So I'm using 480 degrees Celsius with 50% airflow. And I'm just heating it up until I see the solder melt, and then it should just lift up. Again, we don't want to apply any pressure or pull it or risk any damage to the pads underneath. Oh, it's slowly getting there. It's coming. And then we have it off. Awesome. As you can see, all the pins have somehow been pushed out. So a lot of times you see the pins on the inside of the port are all damaged, but surprisingly they looked fine. So I'm guessing this had been forced in way too hard, and it's caused the pins just to kind of push out. So I've got my brand new part here, and then we can put it in. You want to make sure that you can see all the pods melted, so they're starting to go super shiny now. So it was at this point that I realised that the camera cut off and it did not record the rest of the video, which was me placing the part on, and then after placing the part on, finishing up the touches by making sure that all the pins were soldered correctly and making a good connection. So I apologize so much for this. I'm still working on trying to get the setup nice so that I can be recording better quality videos, so please bear with me. But here is the finishing video of me showing that it all went successful and that it worked. It's been a few days since I've come back to this console just because I had to take a break to do a few things. But I basically cleaned up the pins on the back of the HDMI port just to make sure they're making a good connection, and I've screwed it all back together. So now, for the moment of truth on camera, we need to see if it works. So let's plug it in. And plug the HDMI in. And let's power it on. So far, so good. Turn to a white light. Hey, and there we have it. The HDMI port fixed. Nice. And we've got a white light. Awesome. That is such good news. Because I was a bit concerned about this console just because this one's been absolutely stubborn. The port just did not want to remove, and I was worried that I would have put a bit too much heat on the board. But good news, fingers crossed and everything, and it's working, so that is awesome. So now all I need to do is take this all back apart and give it a good clean, because I've not fully cleaned the internals and the fan's still quite like dusty, and the heatsink is all like compact and congested with dust. And then I can give this back to the customer. So thank you so much for everyone for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.